Welcome to Mainland, your local regional television station, coming to you from the Nelson and Tasman region. In today's news, Nick Smith aghast at housing criticism from Marion Street, man jailed for throat slashing, residents' heating options as winter bites, significant roadworks for central Richmond, it's verbal blow to blows in the Nelson region as two local MPs go head to head over housing issues. MP Nick Smith is aghast Labour list MP Marion Street this week issued a press release on housing affordability, he says, given the awful data from her period as housing minister. Marion Street explained to Mainland what she felt was the current situation in Nelson.
The thing that is a real problem here is the gap that is created by low wages and high house prices, which means that people really struggle to get a loan. They've got to get a 20% deposit, and even coming up with that is impossible when you're living on the rents that are as high as they are in Nelson currently.
Dr Smith says while he welcomes a like-for-like comparison of his record as housing minister, because the issue of affordability is important to Nelson and to the upcoming election. He says the facts showing housing affordability was much worse when she was minister, and that house prices escalated by a much greater amount during her period in government. The median house price in Nelson went from $145,000 in 2000 to $329,000 in 2008 and now $363,000. He says the rise in house prices in Nelson was 127% under Labour as compared to 10% under National. He says today's affordability issues arise from the more than doubling in Nelson's house prices under Labour's watch. Nick Smith says the Roost Home Loan Affordability Index in Nelson hit 93% during Marion Street's tenure as Minister of Housing in the last Labour government. Nick Smith also says Labour's big spending on policies drives up interest rates. He says the changes they made to the Local Government Act and Resource Management Act in government made subdivision and housing construction more expensive. A Nelson deckhand has been jailed for 6 years and 9 months for slashing another man's throat. 30-year-old Joseph Koru Tapahe Lewis was sentenced in the Nelson District Court on Tuesday for the attack, which happened on board a fishing boat berthed at Port Nelson in early February this year. Lewis slashed the throat of a fellow crew member as he was talking on a cell phone with his wife. In March, the accused pled guilty to a charge of wounding with intent to cause grievous bodily harm prior to his sentencing this week, which involves a minimal parole period of 3 years and 2 months. The victim has spent many months recuperating from the vicious assault. And now Mainland's Chrissy Small asks members of the public in Richmond how they're managing to keep warm as winter starts to bite and their views on the cost of heating their homes.
How are you keeping yourself warm this winter?
Yeah, good. We've got a heat pump and we've got insulation, double insulation.
Right. So how do you think that's going to cost you in the end?
I don't know. Our power bill last year was about $325
a month.
A month. Ooh. With the heat pumps and the, yep.
It's almost $100 a week.
Yep, that's right. But we've put it on easy pay now, so that we put it on $203 a month. Right. So they just do that every month. And it adds up at the end of the year.
We've got ducted heating. We've got a new house, so we've got ducted heating, yeah. That's what we're using.
Okay.
Fire, and just started putting the oil burner on as it's too cold.
Yeah. Do you think that's going to cost you?
Yes. It costs heaps to use the oil burner.
Yeah.
Hard work.
Yeah.
And put on plenty of clothes, and that's it. You know, keep fit and eat good food.
Wood burner, so firewood and oil column heater.
Sitting in the sun, yes, heating's pretty hard. Go to bed pretty early with a hot water bottle, yes.
Are you finding it a bit expensive?
I am. Really expensive, yes.
With I've got a log fire out back Brightwater there, so we can burn our own wood, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So it's been cold the last couple of days.
Yeah. What about relying on electricity? Not so much?
No, because that's just gone up in price. So it's I feel for these people that are on heat pumps because it's going to burn through their cash.
Oh, dressing warm, staying in the car, coozing up next to the fire.
Yeah. What about you?
Blankets, jerseys, and yeah.
We've got a really
Wrapped up, we've got a good wood burner.
We've got a good wood burner, yeah.
So you're not relying on power?
No.
No, it's too expensive. Yeah, no, firewood's the way to go.
By putting a few more clothes on. Yeah.
Trying to keep the power bill down?
Yeah, no, we're not going to go cold. Yeah, I swim in the morning and so I'm all fit for the day. Yep.
Nelson police are seeking the whereabouts of 18-year-old Zachary Isle, who currently has a number of warrants for his arrest. If you see him or know where he is, please ring Nelson Police on 546 3840 or Crime Stoppers on 0800 555 111. A public feedback meeting is being held in Motueka on Thursday to discuss the proposed pedestrian crossings for High Street, their location and the best way to progress the project. There have been 3 reported injury crashes, pedestrian versus car, since January 2011 associated with the existing pedestrian crossings on High Street. The zebra crossings encourage pedestrians to cross without looking and are uncontrolled. The lack of control creates confusion for pedestrians and motorists, which increases vehicle congestion along High Street. The proposal by TDC's engineering department sees the removal of the 3 existing zebra crossings on High Street between Parr Street and Tudor Street and installation of 3 new signalised pedestrian crossings at the following locations. Site 1 between the Motueka District Museum and the Red Beret Cafe. Site 2 between the Unichem Pharmacy and Cyberworld Internet Cafe. Site 3 between the Hospice Shop and BT's. These signalised pedestrian crossings will require pedestrians to wait for a green signal prior to crossing, which is much clearer for everyone to understand and improves efficiency for both pedestrians and car users. At times of heavy traffic flows, the new signals would make it easier for vehicles to enter and exit the minor roads such as Wallace Street and Tudor Street as a result of the main flow being stopped. The feedback session will take place in the supper room of the Motueka Memorial Hall between 4 p.m. and 6:30 p.m. Everyone is welcome to attend. Motorists can expect some significant roadworks along Lower Queen Street as initial earthworks on the new Richmond water treatment plant get underway in early June. Project Manager Chris Blythe says it's recommended people who don't live in the area use the route along the Gladstone Road corner and State Highway 60. He says in a project this size, there will be increased heavy truck traffic and possible delays from time to time. He says we're asking road users to be patient and to use the alternative route if possible. Signage is in place to give advance warning of the roadworks, which would be in place for up to 6 months, he says. And he says we realise this is an inconvenience, and if you don't need to use Lower Queen Street, please drive carefully and reduce your speed. After the break, we'll bring you the latest weather update and some events and happenings coming up from around the region.